Music producer Roy Cotton assembled some of the best artists in gospel music, including Bishop Paul S. Morton and Judith McAllister, to revive a formerly popular style of music. His project is called Bring Back the Hymns. Please welcome Roy. Hello, Roy. How are you?
How you doing, sir?
I know they've told you many things about me, including the shoes and the socks, but I'm just telling you now, you'll be going back bare feet because we're taking them off you. In the name of Jesus, of course.
I knew about your socks fetish, so I have a socks fetish myself. Every time I see a pair of socks, I always spend an extra $15 when I'm buying some shoes or some pants or something.
Now, what is it about you creative people? You come with the shoes, the socks, and then the hair. I'm like, oh man, this man's making me feel jealous, man. This is supposed to be a Christian show. I'm supposed to be in the spirit, you know. But you know, we'll leave that alone. Let's talk music.
Yes, sir.
For you, you started early as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old. Your father showed you chords, etc. Tell us about those early years and how it's affected how you do music, how you hear it.
Well, it's really funny. My brother started playing before I did, and he's my younger brother, 3 years younger than me. So I saw how he was getting a lot of attention from the girls.
I see.
At school and at church.
Okay.
And I said, I got it.
This is a good idea.
I see what's going on. And my dad is accomplished. He's a very accomplished musician. He actually studied at Southwestern Seminary in Dallas, Texas, actually in Fort Worth, Texas. So I always grew up, you know, having to be on the front row or being on a chair right next to him on the organ. So I was always around it. Never wanted to do it though, until you know, till my brother started playing, and I said, man, let me just see. I just started getting on the keyboard and playing around like in between services at church. And then finally I asked my dad, I said, Dad, would you just show me how to play a few chords? He said, oh, I'm not gonna show you how to play a few chords. I'll show you how to really play.
Wow.
You know, if this is something you're gonna do, you have to take it seriously. Like, do you really wanna do this?
Wow. So let's skip forward because you've got this great record of the hymns, but there are many other things too that you have. One of which that caught my eye is something called Stems for Worship. Tell us a bit about it, because on first sight I thought, is this something that allows my church to function without, if we don't have a musician, we can still worship?
Well, let me just tell you, so STEMS, there's an acronym for STEMS, which is Separated Tracks Enhancing Musicians and Singers.
Okay.
Separated Tracks Enhancing Musicians and Singers. So basically, you can take the separated instruments like the guitar, the bass, the drums, the organ, even the soprano vocal part. That's all been pre-recorded, and then you can add them to whatever your live band or praise team is. So if you're light on sopranos on a particular Sunday, you can add the soprano stems in there with your soprano group. So the idea is with stems, you're not really supposed to know that the people are not there.
Right.
You're supposed to kind of hear it blend into what you already have. And this is something that pretty much all forward-thinking ministries, I would say 80% of churches that have a membership of 1,000 or more are using stems now. So what I'm trying to do is bring it down to churches that have under 100 members, because they're the ones that really need it.
Yeah, and being in the space, I can see the value of it.
Yeah.
Because it means, one, it means you're not held ransom by any personality.
Definitely.
And two, you can still create this great sound.
Definitely.
So, I mean, I would use it for my church if I had one.
Yeah, definitely.
But let's talk about your record. I mean, how is it possible for you to be able to pull together this sort of cast? Because I mean, these are high-profile people, Bishop Paul Morton, you know, Miss McAllister, and all the rest. How did that happen?
Well, it was just so awesome. I had great relationships. Dr. Judy McAllister is one of my good friends. I look at her as a mentor. So she was one of the first people I called about this album. You know, I was like, Dr. McAllister, I know you don't do everything. I would love for you to be a part of this. And she said yes right away. She said, I think it's great. I think it's needed. I want to be a part. So she's the first person who agreed to be on the project. Right. So what I did was I took her name. Judy's looking out, Dr. McAllister's looking out for me. So when I called Bishop Morton's office and they found out about what I was doing, I said, Bishop, you know, I would really appreciate it if you could be on this album. I think it's something great that I think is going to be historic, and I think you need to be a part of it. And when he found out Dr. McAllister was on it, fine, I'll do it. So I was able to get Kathy Taylor, and everything just came from there. Crystal Rucker.
But here you are. I mean, when someone looks at you and looks at the hair and the beard, they just think, ooh, we must be doing hip hop or something.
Right.
But it's a hymns album.
Yes.
Why the choice of hymns?
Well, there's a concept, there's a philosophy called Ancient Futures. And it basically is a philosophy that says that everything has to come back to its point of origin. There's a life cycle to everything on earth. So with Ancient Futures, pretty much says that you don't know what's going to come later until you know what came before. So with hymns, every I would say forward-thinking, pioneering soul artists, R&B artists, almost even hip-hop artists grew up in church on hymns.
Yes.
But what's happening is the generation after mine, I'm a millennial, but the generation after mine, which is Generation Z, they're going to be the first generation that has not grown up hearing hymns. So if the philosophy of Ancient Futures is correct, they're not going to know how to push music forward because they don't know what came before them.
But now here's an interesting thing. You millennials, I understand, you know, you're hip and all that. But when you're in trouble, just like the ones before you, you don't go headbanging or pulling out Lecrae.
No.
You bring have thine own way, Lord.
Listen,
Lord,
my house got hit by a tornado 11 months ago. When we got hit by that tornado, the first song came in my spirit was "I Need Thee, Oh I Need Thee."
Well,
I mean, I wasn't singing the. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the new.
Absolutely.
But you know, when you're going through a storm, you know, there's some songs. Be not dismayed. Be not dismayed. Whatever betide, God will take care of you. You know, these songs are not just, you know, great melodies or great harmonies, but they're foundational to our faith.
Right.
I mean, we wouldn't have got this far without him.
And one final thing about the record. So for you, what's the apart from it, you know, helping us know where we're coming from, what's the biggest thing about this record for you that propels you to travel thousands of miles for us to talk and keep going?
Well, I think it's very important that we preserve these songs because I grew up on them. And I'm really scared, I'm concerned that the next generation is not going to know how to deal with these crazy moments, like being through a tornado. Like, what do? You have no foundation. You're talking about a fatherless and now foundationless generation that's coming behind us. So I really believe hymns, like my 5-year-old son, he sings the verse to Revive Us Again, 5 years old. So when I hear him doing that, when he's listening to his dad's album, his dad and mother's album, you know, I'm saying, okay, they're going to live on after I'm gone.
Wow.
So I want them to be able to make it through those rough moments like we made it through ours.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And,
yes, sir.
And the socks are staying.
Okay, I'll give you the socks.